All right, we're back. Internet issues, of course. It wouldn't be last call without technical issues. I've just made it a joke at this point. Steve Merril, we're going to answer some questions really quickly. One of the last questions was from another Steve. He wanted to know about Purdue High Point when we got cut off. I have a High Point bet from John Murray last night. He gave it to me on Kelly and Murray and said that a sharp group played it, but now it sounds like from VR's side of the counter that they're a pretty square dog. And I kind of understand why the public might not trust Matt Painter, but looking at it a little bit closer, he is 23-14 during March Madness.
Yeah, they went 5-1 last year, so that'd be 18-13 before last year. And if you recall, I believe it was the year before they lost to a 16 seed out of the play-in game, correct? So yes. It's do or die. And I do have a theory on that, Kelly, and it goes to all these games, really. You know, UVA lost to a 16 seed. They won the national title the next year. Purdue lost to a 16 seed. They made the national title the next year. I don't think it's a fluke you see that because you just don't overlook a team when you get bumped. But you could be a little bit, Marco's term, fat and sassy here. So they could overlook this game after a nice run last season. I think this Purdue team is weaker. And yes, High Point is probably a public dog. But as you know, with my public information, we don't blindly fade the public. I use it as a filter. I like the High Point side here. It is their first tournament bid ever. I'm not keen on taking teams off the automatic bid against a team that's coming off a loss. Purdue does fit some good subsets based on that premise long term. But otherwise, I like the matchup for High Point. I think they are a dangerous team that can keep it close. And I'm not a fan of Matt Painter, despite the run he made last year, thanks to the 7-footer in the middle.
All right, got some more questions here. We do have WagerTalk today coming up in 20 minutes, but because we had some technical issues, I might take this as far as the producers let me. Thoughts on Bam Bam State? Of course, Titans CT just further proves to me that I think he's CT's burner account. That's a lot of points. 32.5 here versus 1 seed Auburn. But, Steve, I'll say this much. Auburn late did not impress me. I was on a cruise, but I was in the high limit room for a better part of that trip with a Tennessee fan. So the cool thing about being in the middle of nowhere is no one gives a shit what you do. So we have our phones out watching the game. He was very happy to see the Vols beat Auburn, and I was very happy to see Florida beat the Vols. That being said, Auburn lost, A&M, Alabama, both in kind of ugly fashions. Yeah, the Alabama game was at overtime at home. Then they beat up on Ole Miss. Ugly loss to Tennessee on a neutral court there. Talk to me about this team. Did they just peak too early, you think?
Yeah, you haven't lived, by the way, until you've watched, NFL playoffs, March Madness on a cruise or in Cancun, as I know you've probably done, Kelly, on Mexican, Universal ESPN, the international feed with Spanish announcers and weird commercials. It's quite an event. This is an Auburn team that's fully focused, coming off a loss. If you're going to play it, I would lay it. It's once again, the line is too high, though. My power ratings make the game 29. But Auburn could win by 50. They could win by 20. It's up to them. So these are games I think are very difficult to handicap. I thought it was interesting what Teddy was saying earlier about how these games trend under, and it makes a lot of sense. I actually mentioned this in some videos as well, is that with these huge point spreads, you don't have to worry about those garbage free throws down the stretch because the game is already out of reach. They're not going to foul down 20-25 late. So I don't see Alabama State doing much. They might have a little bit of momentum from winning Tuesday. When Fairleigh beat Purdue 2 years ago, they did come for the play-in round. We've seen the first 4 teams make runs also, the 11 seeds. So if you do like Alabama State, maybe play them early in the first half. Maybe they have a little bit of momentum. Line is too high, but if I'm going to play it, I would lay it with Auburn. They should be very focused after losing the SEC tournament last week.
You would think so, but I know nothing about Alabama State. And like Teddy said earlier, Merril, sometimes this is best not to bet on teams that you don't know much about. Let's take a couple more of these questions here in the chat before we get to WagerTalk today. Steve Merril, oh boy, this is a good one too, because VR and I both like KU. He laid 4, I laid 4.5. As soon as I hit dry land yesterday, I bet Kansas minus 4.5 there at the Hard Rock. Now it's up to 5. Your thoughts on this Arkansas team? Look, Coach Calipari, we all know, pretty dang good during March, except for the last few years, which is why Kentucky got rid of him. 32-25-3 now against the spread. But here's the real reality with Arkansas. I have not trusted them for a better part of the season. They lost 5 straight there in January. And I thought maybe, hey, whoa, this is not good, right? Trouble in paradise. Then they had a couple of nice wins, beat up on Kentucky, Texas, Mizzou, Vanderbilt, South Carolina. The problem is is they didn't really beat up on anybody that was any good. They got walloped by Florida. They got beat up by Tennessee. They get beat up by A&M team, Auburn. I don't really know how good they truly are. They can't hit a three-point shot to save their lives. And here's a Kansas team that is the most experienced team in college basketball. Yes, they've faded late as well, but I do have faith in this defense. I thought this line was a little short.
Yeah, this is a great matchup. Bill Self, John Calipari combined have 50 tournament wins, 10 Final Four appearances, and 3 national titles. And one of them is going home after the first day of the tournament. So it's a great matchup. I think it's not a coincidence they pitted these two teams against each other. 14 of the 16 SEC teams got in, including Arkansas, of course. And guess what? The SEC is 0-1 already in the tournament. Texas losing yesterday in the play-in round. So I think it's going to be very interesting, Kelly, to see if the SEC underperforms. It's a great conference, but you do have to worry if it's a little bit overrated based on all the teams playing each other, bumping their power ratings, bumping their strength of schedule. Whereas Duke from the weak ACC is the overall favorite to win it still, ahead of Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and other teams. I do like Kansas in this game for a couple reasons. First of all, I think they're the better team. And I talk about the public information. Arkansas is a very public dog this week. And this is one of the most public dogs in the round of 64. And I do lean Kansas, so that's another reason to fade them. I think there's a little bit of a sharp square divide in this game. And by the way, I know we're not going to get all the games in, but I did do a breakdown of all 16 Thursday games here on WagerTalk TV. It's in a free video, and I give the public consensus data on several of these games. I do like Kansas in this one. I would fade the public. Arkansas is a public dog, in my opinion.
All right. I love it. A couple other ones that might be a little public. Yale as well as Drake. Patrick wants to know, Mizzou or BYU? Do you think either one of these teams can make a deep run? I'll say this much, Steve. I gave out yesterday on Bet on it. I said, Mizzou is my best bet. I went back and forth between them and Georgia, right? You mentioned the SEC, and I do have that kind of in the back of my mind with some of these mid-tier SEC teams. But I think Drake, not an opponent that, well, K-State played him a couple of years ago. Right now, they have one of the nation's longest active win streaks. They're 30-3 on the season. They play slow. They're methodical, but they do turn the ball over, and they don't make their free throws. And I feel like I've said that all basketball season long. I don't want to back those types of teams. BYU, on the other hand, well, so if Mizzou gets past Drake, great. I laid the 6 with them. BYU, on the other hand, has really impressed me offensively. And it wasn't pretty much until how bad they beat my Kansas State team that all of a sudden the little light bulb in my head went off and it said, I want to back this team. And they went on a nice run to end the regular season. Of course, then they hit the buzzsaw that is the 1 seed of Houston in the Big 12 tournament. I will say the caveat here is if VCU can bang down some threes, which they're not the best three-point shooting team, this could go their way. But I do actually think if I have to pick between the two, I like BYU to make a deeper run.
Well, it's going to come down to threes. I mean, both VCU and BYU take almost half their shots from three-point range. In fact, they both rank top 25 in the nation on percentage of field goal attempts from beyond the arc. The difference is VCU doesn't give up many. BYU gives up a lot. So VCU's going to get more three-point shots in this game. It's just a matter if they hit them or not. It's being played in Denver, so I do think there's a bit of an altitude edge for BYU. However, I pointed this out in my video when I did all 16 games here for Thursday, that I think that edge will be bigger for BYU if they advance and play on Saturday, the second game in 3 days. VCU plays at a fairly slow tempo, so I think they'll be able to hang in the altitude tonight. And then the other game is interesting because Drake is a very public dog. Not a very public dog, but a popular dog pick, I should say. I don't disagree, though. I like the fact that they play slow. In fact, there's 364 teams in the country, and they rank 364 in tempo. It's easy math. They are the slowest team in the nation. This is something you and I talked about in some of my preview videos last week about how to bet the tournament. Whenever I get an up-tempo team against a slow half-court team, I default to that slow-down half-court team. I am a little concerned with the free throws and also with the turnovers. But once again, a slow half-court game, low-scoring game gives the dog a good chance to hang, definitely cover the spread, and maybe pull the upset.
All right, Steve, Merril, give yourself a little self-promotion. As you mentioned, you have up on YouTube right now all 16 Thursday games ready to go. So if you guys have one of those games, just go right in the WagerTalk channel, type it in the search bar, and you guaranteed Steve Merril's got a video on it.
Yeah, Kelly, I don't want to jinx this, but I just looked. It might be the first time in history that a video gets more than the bet on it video, because they're both doing incredibly well right now. Thousands of views for both of them. So check out Kelly's bet on it. Check out my deep dive 16 games for Thursday. And I told people, comment and let me know if you like it, and I'll do Friday. So far, people are liking it. So I'm going to do all 16 for Friday as well later today. That'll be up on YouTube on WagerTalk TV. So click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert. But once again, you can get my preview for all 16 games rapid fire for this Thursday, whether you're joining us day or night. They're all up there. You can also get my NCAA tournament bracket. My pick for all 63 games, including some 8 first-round upsets, long shot national title. That's for sale on my page right now at WagerTalk for $25, or get it free when you use promo code BRACKET25. It's an instant $25 credit on anything you purchase today on my page, SteveMerrillWagerTalk.com. You can use it for the bracket, get it down to 0, or get the bracket for free with a 3-day all sports or a 7-day all sports. I've got 8 best bets on Thursday's card. This is the biggest Thursday opening round card I've ever had in my 29-year career. 8 best bets for my clients, bracket included, and a $25 discount with promo code BRACKET25. Check it out right now, SteveMerrillWagerTalk.com, and get there quicker. See that shortcut, WT.buzz/SM. Oh, Kelly, one other thing. I buried the lead. Free March Madness contest. You're going up to a year of best bets, a $2,000 value. Free to enter. It's all Friday games. So if you're watching the replay here on Thursday, you have until Friday at noon to enter. I put up all 16 there. And that's the link for that is on my homepage also right now at Wager Talk. So enter the free March Madness contest, get my bracket, and get a $25 credit on any package with bracket 25. SteveMerrillWagerTalk.com.
Awesome stuff, Steve Merrill. You are the best. Thank you. All right, one more question. Bill has. Oh, why not? Why not? Let's just do one more. Clemson -7.5. Now, I did not play this in real life, Steve, but I am in a splash contest that closes here in about 25 minutes. $500 entry, splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. I did lay the 7.5 here with the Clemson Tigers, all because of the video I did with you. And you said, here's a couple teams I think we can maybe make a case for those, Sweet 16 Elite 8 runs. Talk to me about the Clemson Tigers here today.
Oh, you're jinxing me. I'm already nervous about this game because we did that before the brackets came out, and I still like Clemson as a long shot. I mentioned them Monday on Wager Talk today, but Kelly, I tell you, this is not the matchup I wanted to see because McNeese is a really dangerous underdog in this game. They play extremely slow also. Both Clemson and McNeese play slow. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I do think Clemson wins and advances by more than 7.5. They might be asking a lot. I'll just be happy if they get out with a win, to be honest. I think they could definitely go to the Final Four. Brad Burnell got into the lead 8 last year, and I think they're even better this year. I will say this, though. If McNeese pulls the upset, McNeese could go several rounds as well. This is a wide-open region in the Midwest. Houston is plus money. They're the only 1 seed that's plus money to win the region. You got Tennessee at the bottom. You got Gonzaga as an 8 seed. The winner of this game might play Gonzaga in a round or so if they get by Houston. So this is a wide-open region. I think both Clemson and McNeese can make some noise.
All right, fine. I just changed it. to McNeese State. I know nothing about McNeese State. This is what makes it difficult on some of these games. We have to pick every single game on the board. There's a couple you just don't know anything about. Steve Merrill, you are the best. Again, guys, hang out right here. Wager Talk YouTube channel, 8 minutes. The Prez is going to be here for Wager Talk today. We'll be back here 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning. Who's on the show tomorrow? Let me double check and see who's on the show tomorrow. Obviously, we know VR is going to be on the show tomorrow. And also, we have Jesse Schul from WagerTalk.com. Saturday, we got a star-studded lineup as well. Art to Caesar from the Westgate Superbook. VR is going to join us. Brian Power and Bill Crackman. And, of course, Sunday, we got VR again. Ralph Michaels, Mark Zeno. It's going to be a great weekend, guys. Let's cash some tickets starting right now. First game goes off here pretty quickly.